Hello everybody. Hi. Really awkward. I've never done like a face-to-face camera kind of video before. I'm gonna try and not look at the camera and psych myself out. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to a reading video. By new, I mean the very first one. Happy Halloween, guys. This is coming out ideally on Halloween. It's currently Thursday 24th and Halloween is next Thursday, so I've got 7 days to read 3 books. These 3 books have been recommended and picked by a friend. So we're going to do a quick run through and then we'll get into the video, guys. So, first book, Adam Caesar, Clown in a Cornfield. I've only just noticed, guys, I just want to point out I am using a webcam. I don't have a camera or anything. If the quality is rubbish, I will be inserting clips from my phone throughout the video, but I don't have a decent camera. Obviously, as you can see, I don't have a background either. The second book, A Lonely Broadcast, book 1. I think at the time there's only this book out at the minute. A Lonely Broadcast by Kel Byron. Can't wait to read this one. I actually have this already on my... I don't have it, I already have it on my to buy list. Somebody did this whole thing of like, if you like this game, you'll like this book. And I think this was based on Firewatch, I think. I don't know. We've got a bonus, guys. So there's 3 books, but there's technically 4. Last but not least, Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. The bonus, we're not reading the whole thing because it's a chunky monkey. So there's this classic horror tales by, well, obviously it's going to be by a lot of different people because it's it's a group of different stories. My friend recommended reading The Hollow Places, but then there's also The Willows by Algernon Blackwood. I don't think you'll be able to see that. It's only like 40 pages long. Sorry, I just realised I look like an egg. Sorry, this will improve throughout the week, but no. 3 books, 7 days. It should be possible. I did try and do a 24-hour reading challenge a few weeks ago. As you'll see me in a minute, I've made a cuppa and I sat down and started reading Clown in a Cornfield. See you in a bit. I went to sort the file out and everything. I'm like, wait, if I'm doing a book video, then I should probably tell you what the book's about. Some people move to a town. It's not going too well for the town. There's a creepy clown for the mascot, and things are happening in the town that's not very good. That's all that I know so far, so I'm gonna go start reading this, guys. Sorry, I look like a slob. I've just been to work. I promise it is a different day. I don't like how the top half of me looks on camera, so trying to bag that out a bit. Update time. I've read about 50 pages, I think. Oh, 74, not 50. I do apologise as well. The quality, I was watching back the footage I recorded yesterday. The quality is disgusting. This book, I was thinking about how to rate it, and I think it's going to be impossible to strictly rate a book on specific categories. The main, obviously, part being if it's actually scary, or if it's like a horror book as it's supposed to be advertised. So far, I'm enjoying the fact that it feels like it's quick and easy to read because the words are very big. You feel like you're reading quickly. If you get intimidated by small words and a lot of words on a page, then this book should be okay for you because it feels easy to read. I did remember my friend saying that one of them is more like it's not quite young adult. It might be young adult, I don't know. I've not researched any of these before because I wanted to go in blind. I don't think it's young adult based, but it might be. I've read a lot of young adult books and I feel like this is kind of like written for the younger kind of people. I'm loving the storyline so far. There was 2 horror books by Michelle Paver. Dark Matter and Thin Air, that's it. They was very atmospheric, and I feel like this so far, it's more leaning towards the atmospheric kind of horror than the actual like imagine like Scream or Slasher, like the whole never doing that again. If it continues like the story, if it develops and if it continues how it is so far, I think I would definitely enjoy the book. I'm going to read a bit more of this. I will see you tomorrow, hopefully when I've like nearly finished it, and I'll give you a quick update then. Okay, bye. Ignore the Rice Krispie. Just ignore them. I've just finished work. I read a little bit more after the update this morning. Something big has just happened. I just wanted to mention this now before I forgot it. Like, whilst I was at work, I was thinking that I know this is going to be a good book because I was thinking about it whilst I was at work. I feel like if I think about it after I've put it down and had a few hours break from it, then it's caught my attention. Thinking about the story when I'm not even reading it. If anyone's seen the film It, the thing, I'm not going to spoil it, like both the book or the film. I'm kind of getting small town vibes when I picture, because they've mentioned, there's been talk, obviously not to spoil it, but it's clown in a cornfield, so there's going to be mentions of clowns, or clown, should I say. So when I picture this clown, I know it's not like for like, it's got, obviously not to spoil it, but there's differences. But still, when I imagine this clown, I imagine the clown from It. Bye. It's a few days later. I'm a little bit behind. It's Sunday. I've still got 2 more books to finish. About 15-20 minutes ago, I finished reading Clown in a Cornfield. I am going to give this a solid 4.5 out of 5. I was trying to think of like how I'd describe this book without spoilers. If anyone's seen the film Battle Royale, a bit of a spoiler there. Imagine, like, it's a really bad thing to kind of compare it to, but it's the only thing that my brain would think of. So imagine if you're going into a cat cafe to have cake and coffee and cats, but then you suddenly blink and you are in a dungeon full of death and despair. Not literally a dungeon, but you get the idea. So that's how I felt reading this book. There was so many twists in this book. I literally messaged my friend saying, I think this is going to happen at the end. And then something big happened. I thought, no, I'll just carry on reading. And then something happened at the end. I was like, oh, I was completely wrong about that. I don't really have much reading time left to say that I've still got 2.5 books left to read. So next up, the longest out of the 2.5 that I've got to read is going to be The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. So without to give you the premise of what's on the book, slight spoilers, main character finds alternate realities and monsters or creatures that can hear thoughts, and the more that you fear them, the stronger they become. So I'm interested to start reading this. The writing is quite big, 355 pages, so it's not like Order of the Phoenix kind of book size. Clown in a Cornfield is so far, I don't know if there's any intendance to be intendance. I don't know if there's anything intended to be for a 4th, but it is currently a trilogy. I'm going to start reading. I don't have any B-roll footage. I forgot to mention, I do apologise if the actual thing isn't in line with the other lots of footage. That I can't show you. Well, I could, but I'm not gonna. The little tripod that I've got, I use so when I get the B-roll footage of me making the cuppa or sitting on the sofa, I use my phone. I've got the same tripod, but I have to obviously adjust the height and everything. Oh, I forgot to mention. Well, this is why I've never made a video, because I go back and forth and I forget everything. But this, I did look on Goodreads, because I updated my Goodreads to say that I read it. This was the first, but this was marketed as horror young adult, so I do see, I forgot to mention it again as well, do apologise. This is very good for people that would like easy reading. There was another 200 pages to go, and I read it in 2 hours. In comparison, just to show you, by writing style, I mean, there's a book that I read recently called The Cloisters by Katie Haze. That one, when I attempted recently, obviously you all probably know, I tried doing a 24-hour reading challenge when I had a week off work, and it didn't work. Long story short, but I read this, but because of the writing style, it was 385 pages long. 10 hours. It took me 10 hours to read this book, guys. So if you want something easy, then I do recommend Hounds and a Cornfield. If I have other books to recommend that's similar to what I've read, then I will. Hounds and a Cornfield. If you read this and you like the whole aspect of like the town being caught in a traditional kind of concept of you do things this way because this is how we've done it for years. It's not exactly the same, but there's a book called All That's Left in the World by Eric J. Brown. This is I won't say it's horror. It says find shelter, find safety, find each other. Obviously, yeah, all that's left in the world. The preface of it is there's an apocalypse. It's not like a zombie apocalypse. It's more of a 2020 kind of vibe. There's a part that leads into the sequel, because there's a sequel to this. There's a thing about like towns and how the towns are very like in their old-fashioned ways, and if you don't do things their way, then you're basically the enemy and stuff. That's kind of very similar to this. So yeah, 4 out of 5. Bye. Hello everybody. Sorry, I have to be quiet because it's 4:45 in the morning and I have been awake for the last 2.5 hours, and it's because of this. I started reading obviously The Hollow Places last night. I read and I read and I read, and I said I wasn't going to do an update until I was like halfway through. I'm nowhere near the halfway mark, but where I capped off, like where I said to myself I'm going to stop for the night and then read the next day, I can't stop thinking about it. And ever since I woke up early, I'm like, go back to bed, you've still got like 4 hours of sleep, you've got a long day of work, go back to bed. Nope, it's going to be a 10 out of 5. It's that good. I mean, like I said, I've not even got halfway through yet, but just like the pacing, the description of like the relationship between characters, it's just mwah. Guys, we're cursed. I do apologise if I look at the computer screen a lot during this bit, but I've basically just recorded for the last 10 minutes and it's corrupted. This, Hollow Places, not finished yet, got about, I don't know, over 100 pages just over. It's going to be a 5 out of 5 already. Imagine you're on a roller coaster, and imagine the book is the roller coaster. You're going up, and you think, oh yeah, things are great, we're going up in the world. Back down you go. You think things are getting all like safe and I don't know, comforting, and it's like nope, that's not happening. We're gonna change things up and something else is gonna happen. There's something that happens, and then the middle of the book it kind of tapers out to like you're not on the roller coaster anymore. You're kind of heading back towards the bit where you get off. It's like flat kind of ground. No, it's halfway through the book. It shouldn't be. Like, this can't be it. I was thinking halfway through the book, like, surely this can't be it, because everything seemed too comfortable. The author, T. Kingfisher, apparently obviously isn't the real author's name. I didn't realise that it's a pen name. They have basically not reimagined, but, like, I just want to point out that my imagination would never, ever be able to come up with something like this. Like, this is astronomical. Quite literally. When you think of horror, when you think of scary, you think of like, I don't know, Ghostface or Michael Myers or some kind of like standing like in the dark and something creepy like sneaking up behind you. That's what you imagine, something scary. But this, the concept of what's kind of scary in this book is the sense that it's not here with us. So like I'm talking to you, I'm talking to a camera right now, which is a physical object in this kind of dimensional space. Whereas in this, it's more a sense of, imagine these 3 books is our dimension. The middle book is the majority of us. These 2 outer books are like the boundaries of our world. The things in this book are kind of like on the outside, and they kind of briefly push through the 2 outer books, not quite getting into the middle, but they push through, basically like they're breaking through the boundaries, but they're not actually physically in. They can just appear from nowhere, like from anywhere, and that's what's scary. I look like a rat. I'm sorry. I've finished it. I'm so annoyed that I gave Clown in a Cornfield 5 out of 5, but I've already committed to that basis, and I'm very much sure once I've committed to something, I don't go back and change it. In comparison, like I said with Clown in a Cornfield, it's hard to rate something when you've got so many different things that you can rate it under, like atmospheric, physical, gore, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. But if we're going to rate it compared to each other, Clown in the Cornfield is a 3 to a 5-star Hollow Places. If I could rate this 10 out of 5, I would rate it a 10 out of 5. Only for the fact that it's nothing I could have ever imagined in mind. Like, I've never read... Most books like follow a kind of pattern of like it's basically a formula. Like every single book has similar formula. Introduce the characters, introduce the setting, build up some tension, build up some fear if you're reading a horror, have a bit of loss, have a gigantic kind of climatic ending. This kind of breaks every sense of that because yes, it does have climactic points of this is what I was saying about the middle, so it built up really well and then it kind of simmered off for a bit, and I'm like, this can't be it, there's half a book left. And let me tell you, it kind of doubled. It went, if you think the half point, like if you think the halfway point is like what you'd expect an ending of a book to be, just you wait till you get to the actual ending because that's just crazy. Talking of structure, it's very much more, it's not, I wouldn't say, I might be wrong, I don't know if it is aimed for young adults, but it's kind of a lot, compared to Clown in the Cornfield, it's a lot more grown up in writing compared to that. So if you are only used to young adult books, then I wouldn't say it would be difficult to read this, but it's not as easy to read as a young adult book. Welcome back, guys. I have finished reading The Willows, is it? By Algernon Blackwood. This was a struggle, guys, I'm not gonna lie. It took me 2.5 hours to read 40 pages. Not to alarm you all, but if you find small writing scary, then this isn't for you. Not gonna obviously spoil the Hollow Places, but there's a thing that's found, and there's a mention of an animal, that's all I'm gonna say. But it was nice to see like the origin story. Well, it wasn't the origin story, but like to see a story of years before. So yeah, I would recommend. I mean, this isn't obviously the actual book. This book, I nearly halfway through put it down, came back to you all and said, I am going to put this on hold because I am stressing out so much for the fact that I've now only got, because ideally I wanted to read The Hollow Places today. I wanted to finish it, I wanted to read all of this, and I wanted to get at least a third way in to the last book. But I'm not even going to, I probably might just get to a quarter today because it's late. I forgot to recommend, I don't have, obviously, the first book I recommended something quite similar, whereas Hollow Places, which we've just read before this, I don't have a recommendation that's like for like. This was one of the earlier books that I picked up, and I wouldn't really know what kind of genre to put it in, like supernatural kind of borderline horror, because I do remember it was advertised as horror, and I forgot that it was a horror until like 3/4 way through. But like it's got a kind of supernatural kind of element, which is kind of the same kind of elements which is in The Hollow Places. I got it right. And the book is What Kind of Mother by Clay McLeod Chapman. It's definitely not similar, like I said, but it has got a supernatural element. Last but not least, obviously, as we all know, the last book is A Lonely Broadcast, Book 1. There is only one book out at the minute. Kel Byron. Can't wait to read it. There we go. I'm glad that I left this till last because I think it's the shortest book, apart from obviously technically that last book, 40 pages, but hey ho, 271 pages. It's got nice big words, and the pages, although the page is quite big in comparison to a normal book. The premise is, obviously I'm not going to obviously read word for word. If you find yourself driving down a winding mountain near an endless stretch of pines, try tuning into 104.6 FM, the radio station that shouldn't exist. Blah de blah de blah. They learn that the radio station isn't just for entertainment. Stalked by a bird with human eyes. New co-host won't stop singing show tunes. But that's that, guys. So, gonna start reading this. There's a content warning. I've not actually noticed a content warning in other books that I've read. I just realised I technically didn't rate that, did I? So because it wasn't a full story, it was kind of mainly a, what are they called? Like a novella. It wasn't like it was a story. It wasn't a fully developed story from beginning to end. It was kind of like a snapshot of a main story. And I forgot to mention that the Hollow Places, got it right this time, was kind of based, obviously, as the author mentioned at the end, it was like based on the H.P. Lovecraft kind of idea of that then story, which was then also based on H.P. Lovecraft as well. So they kind of like developed that story fully. It was a good story, but because it was based in the year 1907, I did struggle with the fact that it wasn't the fact that the language was different. Like, so imagine like Shakespeare, where they kind of use like, wherefore art thou Romeo? I don't even know if that is Shakespeare. It's not as if the sentences are like that. It's just that the sentences and the word phrasing and alignment isn't. So for example, I'm looking over and there's a chair across from me. I would say, across from me there is a red chair. But then in this book it'd be like, beneath the yellow lighting there was bequest a red chair facing the human across from it. I don't know. It was kind of more detailed and, well, obviously evidently why there was so much wording and stuff, but there's like two differences of the same thing, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. I really enjoyed it. 5 out of 5 because obviously the story. I know this is supposed to be B-roll, guys, but I'm literally only on page 17. Literally on chapter 2, and it's juicy already. Guys, I couldn't do it. It's 20 to 10 at night, and it's Wednesday, so obviously this video is going live tomorrow, ideally. I'm so close. I'm currently on page 231. There's 271. This book is, like, there's so much going off, there's so much, like, things that you're going to think, like, it's not just, like, a easy read, it's easy to read, I mean, there's so much going off that you can't have a minute to think, like, you're constantly thinking, information's, like, going into your brain, and there's no, like, relaxing moment of, like, oh, we'll just read, like, 20 pages of relaxing kind of storyline. No, there's always something major going off. Oh my god, guys, we did it. We've finished. It's only 1:05 on Halloween. It's currently the 31st of October. A 4.7 out of 5. It only lost marks because I need book 2. I'm not happy. Obviously, I'm not even exaggerating. It's been less than 3 minutes since I finished the book, so I'm coming in fresh with like the reactions. So if this didn't have book 1 on the bottom, I would be rating this a 4 because I'm not happy with the ending, guys. I need book 2 now, but it kind of left it in a place, without spoiling, it left it in a place where it doesn't matter if there's a second book. Although there's quite a few unresolved things, it's like not groundbreaking, it's not like again, try not to spoil it, but it could be a standalone, but I'm glad that there is going to be a second book. I'm glad it's going to hopefully be a series, but no, 4.7 out of 5. The last 30 pages that I read, it all kind of like roller coaster went up again. It didn't come down. It went off the track. It did a whole Final Destination thing of like, whoop, off the track. I wanted to give this less points. I was going to purposely deduct points for the fact that there's a film, and it might be based on a book, I don't know, And I don't want to mention the film's name either, because if you know the film, it will completely ruin this book. 5 out of 5 for Clown in a Cornfield, 5 for Hollow Places, and then 5 for The Willows. I've really enjoyed these books. Definitely going to make a video like this again. Like I said, I do have a ton of crime books. I was going to say videos. I just want to point out now, I am not happy with the way that I've edited this video, in the sense of I wanted more like overlays and like a time-lapse bar of like how much progress you're making in the book. I wanted to do things like that. Thank you to my friend, obviously not going to mention the name, but thank you for borrowing me these books. I have had, guys, I've honestly, this is the most fun. I'm not going to lie, I've been making gaming content for the last 2.5 years or so. This is the most fun. This last week, reading books and talking about them. This is the most fun I've had making a video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. No, that's cringe. Bye. That was still cringe.